Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. And I wanted to do a follow-up to this video that I did earlier, as you can see the title here, concerning the mixed multitude in Egypt, as there were some points that I didn't have time to bring out. So this will, stand as a part 2 to that video. You can watch this one. Hopefully you're edified. All right, and we're going to further the point, as, many, Christians or anti-Messiah pagans who call themselves Christians love to throw, all right, because that's all they talk about. Here it is, all they do is scream about everybody can be saved, the heathen can be saved. Well, the heathen are setting up a system of digital enslavement. They're setting up a total anti-Messiah system. Where are the heathen who are calling on Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai to establish the throne of David, to establish a government rooted in righteousness? Where is that at? Calling for who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, all right, to reign on the planet Earth, all right, and put down all rule and authority. All right, the heathen are doing their own thing. All right, as it is written in the book of Sirach, the 3rd chapter. See if we can get that. All right, 2nd Esdras, chapter 3 and 31. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they of Babylon better than they of Sion? Because the Babylonians had decimated the temple and were having their way. It says, or is there any other people that knoweth thee besides Israel? Or what generation have so believed thy covenants as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not. Okay? And their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. The heathen ain't worried about the commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You see the remnant of Israel calling for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to establish a kingdom, for true justice to be set up. All you Christians or you anti-Messiah pagans do is cry about everybody can be saved and we don't have to keep none of the laws. That's your only talking points. Okay? Weigh thou therefore art wickedness now in the balance, and there's also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name be nowhere found but in Israel, Yashar Allah. Okay? Only in Israel are you hearing, all right, the calling on Yahweh through Yahweh Shai to establish order on the planet Earth in the form of the throne of David. All right, or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? Thou shalt find that Israel by name have kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. So where are all of these heathen? All right, who are crying on the Lord to establish a righteous government upon the earth, take down all of the heathen nations. That's what Yahweh Shai is coming to do. And we believe in those precepts. Anyway, going back, all right, to the point that we were making in that video, all right, there was a covenant made with Abram that was passed down to Isaac and Jacob. Okay, when we read the book of Exodus, the 2nd chapter, as we showed you in that lesson, okay, Exodus chapter 2 and 23, and it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, right? And they cried, and their cry came up to the Most High by reason of the bondage. And the Most High heard their groaning and remembered his covenant with Abraham and with Isaac and with Jacob. Okay? And God looked upon the children of Israel and had respect unto them. So us being brought out of Egypt, all of those plagues coming, the Lord sending Moses and Aaron, the covenant being given, it was all rooted in what he had promised, all right, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, and when you go into the precepts of the Most High remembering his covenant with Abraham, it takes you directly to Genesis, all right, the 15th chapter. Okay, this is Genesis, the 15th chapter. We're going to read a little bit of this. Okay, because, basically this is the chapter where, Abram is receiving a promise and he's trying to process it like, well, who I'm going to pass this down to if I don't have a son yet, right? An heir. Okay. This is Genesis 15:3. You have given me no descendants of my own, so one of my servants will be my heir. Now, what is the heir? Okay, what is an heir? Yarash, all right, to take possession, to inherit, to be an heir, to inherit, okay, to possess what was promised, all right, unto, all right, the father in this case, okay? Then the Lord said unto him, I'm reading in the NLT, no, your servant will not be your heir, for you will have a son of your own who will be your heir. Then the Lord took Abram outside and said, look into the sky and count the stars if you can. That's how many descendants you will have. The sky was way more clear back then. Okay. It says, and Abram believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. This is how the Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners who were scattered, are linked unto Abraham because of their faith in the promise, their faith in what's written. Okay, it says, then the Lord told him, I am the Lord who brought you out of the Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land as your possession. But Abram replied, O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that I will actually possess it? All right, then the Lord told him to bring a ram. You can read that. All right. In verse 12, it says, as the sun was going down, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a terrifying darkness came over him. Then the Lord said to Abram, you can be sure your descendants will be strangers in the land where they will be oppressed as slaves 400 years. Okay, and a lot of people try to associate this with America. All right, but this was speaking of ancient Egypt, man. See, and as you read down, it's proof that it's speaking of ancient Egypt. But that nation will I punish. All right, but I will punish the nation that enslaved them, and in the end they will come away with great wealth. All right, and that's the scripture that the Israelites borrowed of the Egyptians, gold, silver, as we were being, as those plagues were coming. Pharaoh pretty much gave Jake reparations, like, here, man. Okay, it says, as for you, you will die in peace and be buried at a ripe old age, speaking to Abram. After 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land. All right? For the sins of the Amorites do not yet warrant their destruction. So there was, the people who were in the Holy Land at that time, those Hamite nations, all right, had to do more evil. All right? And you can read in Wisdom of Solomon how the Lord talks about it was his will to destroy, all right, those who were inherit the Holy Land. They were doing all of those odious works of witchcraft. All right. But their sins had to be fulfilled, all right, before the Heavenly Father, all right, had the Israelites go and take them out of that land and possess it. Okay. After the sun went down and darkness fell, Abraham saw a smoking fire pot and flaming torch pass between the halves of the carcasses. So the Lord made a covenant with Abram that day. All right. He made a covenant with Abram that day and said, I have given this land to your descendants all the way from the border of Egypt to the great river Euphrates, the land now occupied by the Kenites, the Kenedites, the Kadamites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Rephaites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. They were in that land at that time. But the Lord told, all right, Abram, after 4 generations, All right, will I give your descendants this land after the sins of these Canaanites and Amorites were fulfilled. All right, it wasn't filled yet. All right. So as you go into the scriptures, right? When you go into the scriptures, or you read, all right, how we were exodus out of Egypt. You read Leviticus, dealing with the law. You read Numbers, okay, where we were, going through the wilderness. You read Deuteronomy after that 40 years of that wicked generation, dying out. You have the book of Deuteronomy, which all right, or deuce means two, the second, all right, time the covenant was introduced. The same covenant was reintroduced to a newer generation, okay, by Moses, right? So, and Moses is breaking it down to him, okay? So you have the book of Deuteronomy after that wicked generation had died off in the wilderness after 40 years, okay? You have Deuteronomy, okay? Then you have the book of Joshua, all right? In the book of Joshua, let's get Joshua, the 11th chapter, all right? This is where we are entering into that land. This is the prophecy given to Abram being fulfilled, that his seed through Isaac and Jacob, because that very promise that was given unto Abraham was also given unto Isaac. It was also given unto Jacob. Okay? All right. This is what he told Isaac. Genesis 26:3. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and I will bless thee, for unto thee will I give, in thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham, all right, thy father. I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give, all right, unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. All right. In thy seed shall all the kindred, all of your descendants are going to be blessed through the seed, all right, which is Yahweh Shai, because we wouldn't get the full possession through the law. So it would have to come through what? Yahweh Shai, all right, and faith in him. All right. But that's another lesson for another time. I did a lesson on that as well. And we always go to Genesis, the 35th chapter, right? Genesis 35, and just jump straight to the point. Genesis 35:11, I am God, and the Most High said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and the company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave unto Abraham and to Isaac, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. No heathen, none of the mixed multitude, as we keep reading in the chapters, no heathen will ever partake in this promise. See? That was an oath. That was a covenant. See, it was immutable. The Lord is not going to change that. Okay, so what these pagan anti-Messiah so-called Christians do is they find any little loophole to try to say, well, what this just said don't count anymore. All right, because Jesus, they don't get it. All right, but anyway, as we were going to the book of Joshua, the 11th chapter. All right. The 23rd verse, okay, says what? All right. So Joshua took the whole land according to all that the Lord said unto Moses, and Joshua gave it for an inheritance according to their divisions by their tribes. All right. And the land rested from war. So this land, all right, that Joshua, under Moses's, leadership eventually got into, which they didn't fully get it, but they got a portion of it, all right, was to be given as an inheritance unto Israel according to their divisions by tribe. None of the large multitude had inheritance rights when it came to that promise. And the word inheritance, all right, nachala, possession, property, inheritance, all right, heritage, portion, share, property. Okay, so the promised land was the property of Abraham, his seed through Isaac, his seed through Jacob, and his seed. Okay? And the promise that was given unto Abraham that his seed would come into this land, all right, and in 4 generations on down the line, eventually comes to pass, all right, through Joshua and Caleb, right? Joshua and Caleb, right? And, as they were conquering these lands, let's go to Joshua, the 13th chapter, okay? And I'll read in the NLT. Now, the land yet to be conquered. When Joshua was an old man, the Lord said unto him, "Ye are growing old, and much land remains to be conquered. This is the territory that remains, all the region of the Philistines and the Girgashites." Remember, that was who was in that land when this promise was given unto Abraham. Okay, so he's breaking down which tribe, which heathen are in which land. The Lord's like, I'm gonna drive them out. But as you keep going, all right, Joshua 13:6, and all the hill country from Lebanon, all right, to Misrepeth, Maim, all right, including all the lands of the Sidonians, all right, Hamites. I myself would drive these people out of the land ahead of the Israelites, all right. So be sure to give this land to Israel as a special possession, just as I have commanded you. Include all this territory as Israel's possession when you divide this land among the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh. So these lands were only to be given unto Israelites. And when you go into Numbers, right? When you go to Numbers, go Numbers 36, maybe around 6 or 7, I believe. Okay. All right. Inheritance by marriage. All right. It says, and the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Manasseh, yada, yada, yada. You can keep reading that. Well, let's go to, because basically an issue came up. All right. Let's see here. Let's just jump to the point. Verse 5. So Moses gave the Israelites this command from the Lord. The claim of men of the tribe of Joseph is legitimate. This is what the Lord commands concerning the daughters of Zelophehad. Let them marry anyone they like as long as it is within their ancestral tribe. Okay, so when it came to inheritance, because a daughter can get certain inheritance blessings, blessings to certain portion of land, through her father or through an agreement made, as she was, being given unto a man as a wife. If he passed, you get this land, but it would have to be, all right, of that tribe associated with that land. So you couldn't cross, all right, Judah couldn't get an inheritance in the land, all right, of Ephraim. Ephraim couldn't get an inheritance in the land of Issachar. Issachar couldn't get, all right, an inheritance in the land of Benjamin. Right? It says, none of the territorial land may pass from tribe to tribe, for all the land given to each tribe must remain within the tribe which it was first allotted. See? The inheritance. So this promise was specifically for the children of Israel. No heathen was a part of this. But now you have Christians, pagan Christians, anti-messianisms. they practice anti-messianism, since they like to put ism on everything. Now they're telling you, well, in the first covenant, it was for the heathen as well. Which we're reading about all of these heathen that were driven out, all right, by Joshua and Caleb, all right, when you read this chapter. All right, when you read Joshua 13 to around 21, as you can see, the allotment of the tribe of Levi, all right, the land given unto the tribe of Reuben, which Levi didn't get a specific portion of land. They were on the outskirts, and ultimately all of the rest of the tribes took care of them because they were the priest. All right. The tribe of Reuben got their allotment. Okay, the tribe of Gad. See, nowhere do you read any of this inheritance land going to a heathen. Okay? Not under the first covenant, and it damn sure ain't gonna be under the new covenant. All right? Point blank, period. Okay, let's get the book of Psalms 78 and 55. He cast out the heathen also before them and divided them an inheritance by line and made the tribe of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they provoked the Most High God and kept not his testimony. So ultimately, we didn't get the fullness of the promise. All right. Because of what? The law. Because of what? The flesh. We didn't get the fullness of the promise. All right. Under that first covenant. We're going to get the fullness of the promise under the second covenant. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, when you get the book of, all right, and you can read, when you read Joshua, all right, you can read, Joshua and Caleb, getting the, a portion of the land, and you can read from like Joshua 13 to around 21. Okay, you can read that, and that'll give you pretty much, if you want to read that history about us, part inheritance amongst the 12 tribes with the land that we did conquer. But again, it wasn't fulfilled. See, remember, it was told unto Abram, in thy seed, all right, shall all of the families which are the kindreds of the earth be blessed. And again, that's quoted in the book of Acts. Okay, Acts, the third chapter and 25. Ye are the children of the prophets and of the covenant which God made with our fathers, saying unto Abraham, and in thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed. So we ain't going to get the inheritance through the law. We're going to get inheritance through the promise, but it's going to take faith. And we'll show you that. So all the kindreds, patria, lineage running back to some progenitor, ancestry, a nation, all right, or tribe, a group of families, all of those who in a given lay claim to a common origin. The Israelites, which distributed into 12 tribes, descended from the 12 sons of Jacob. They were divided into families, which were divided into houses. Okay? So, as this is quoted in the New Testament, they're letting you know that this was speaking of ultimately the Israelites. And in thy seed, which is Yahweh Shai, is how we're going to receive that blessing. Because when it's all said and done, let's get the book of Jeremiah. When it's all said and done, right? Is that Jeremiah 3, around 18? When it's all said and done, in those days shall the house of Judah walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. See? We're going to possess that land, okay? That land was given as an inheritance to our fathers. Point blank, period. Okay? This is why Yahweh Shai died, because ultimately, through the law, we could never get that promise. As a matter of fact, Hebrews, right? Hebrews, the 9th chapter and the 15th verse, right? Hebrews 9 and 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of a new covenant or a new testament, all right, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament. Who was under the first testament? Who was under the first covenant? The Israelites. None of the large multitude were under that first covenant. No heathen was under that first covenant. No heathen will be under the second covenant. Yahweh Shai's blood redeemed the transgressions of the elect, starting with the elect, all right, but of all Israel, but it starts with the elect, because not all Israel are going to make it on that first go round. Okay? Only the elect. All right? The Lord told Abram his seed will be as the sand of the sea, right? Well, only a remnant is going to return of that seed. Okay? Only a remnant of the nation of Israel, the remnant of Israel, are going to return to the land and dwell safely, which is going to fulfill the promise that was given unto Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. See? But these anti-messianisms, I don't know how to say it, these anti-messiahs don't get it. See? And for this cause, he is the mediator of a new covenant, that by the means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first covenant, that they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. See, the promise of eternal inheritance. Okay? Where we're going to set up a government in that land. See? Let's get Galatians 3 and 18. All right? Galatians 3 and 18. Right? Let's start at 16. Now to Abraham and to his seed, all right, which was Isaac, all right, where the promise is made, all right, he saith not into seeds as of many, but as of one, and thy seed, which is Yahushai, all right, the anointed. And Isaac was the anointed of that time too. Okay? He was the seed on which, all right, the Most High told Abram to put that seed to death, even though he had promised it would be through him. He would get all of these great things. He told him to put him to death. And Abraham, he passed the test. He was getting ready to put him to death. And when you read in Hebrews, it tells you he believed that the Lord was going to raise him from the dead. Then it told you he did raise Isaac from the dead in a sense. All right. But that's for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. All right. It says, as it says in one of the scriptures, it says, now we as Isaac were the children of the promise. Okay. It says, I say, and this I say, all right, let's read this in the NLT. Galatians 3 and 17. This is what I am trying to say. The agreement God made with Abraham, which was passed down to Isaac and Jacob, cannot be canceled. All right. 430 years later, when God gave the law to Moses, all right, God would be breaking his promise. So because we broke that first covenant and we're not able to fully enter into the promised land under that first covenant because of our hard-hearted, because of the breaking of that covenant, all right, that doesn't take away the promise that was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The law was just given to show us how bad we needed Yahushai. Okay, and the law was only given unto one nation. Okay? Verse 18 in Galatians 3 and 18. King James, for if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but God gave it to Abraham by promise. Okay? See? For if the inheritance, so this is the importance of thy seed. In thy seed would all the kindred of the earth be blessed in Yahushai and faith in him. He's that ensign that the scattered Israelites, as we would be scattered, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob would be scattered, would be in Yahushai that we would receive this blessing of eternal inheritance, this promised land. Okay? For if the inheritance could be received by keeping the law, then it would not, all right, be a result of accepting God's promise. Did not Abraham become a friend of the Most High because he believed? But God graciously gave it to Abraham as a promise. Why then was the law given? This just shows you it's talking about Israelites. Okay? Because only Israelites received that law, that first covenant. Why then was the law given? It was given alongside the promise to show the people their sins. See? But the law was designed only to last until the coming child who was promised, in thy seed shall all the kindred of the earth be blessed. All right. God gave his law through angels to Moses, who was the mediator between God and the people. Okay. So again, Galatians 3 and 18, for if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise. See? But God gave it to Abraham by a promise. This is why we got to tap into the faith of Abraham, because it was a promise given unto him which he believed. See? And he believed that promise while he was uncircumcised. Okay? While he was, raised as a heathen, while he was in a Gentile state. That's how it's tied to us as we are scattered. Okay? But again, this promise is not to any of the heathen. Okay, again, the immutability. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hebrews 6 and 15. So God's promise brings hope. Hebrews 6 and 13. For example, there was God's promise to Abraham, since there was no one greater to swear by, the Most High took an oath in his own name. That's why he say he puts his word above his name, because he swore on his own name, saying, I will certainly bless you and multiply your descendants beyond number. Then Abraham waited patiently, and he received what God promised, and that was Isaac. Okay, I'm gonna give you a seed. He told him that, and he waited patiently, and eventually that seed came. All right, through Sarah. All right. Now, when people take an oath, they call on someone greater than themselves to hold them to it, and without any question, the oath is binding. Okay. Wherein the Most High, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, he confirmed it by an oath. Okay? What is an heir?
Strong's G 2818, kleronamas. Kleronamas.
One who received by lot, an heir. One who has required or obtained a portion allotted to him. In messianic usage, one who received his allotted possession by right of sonship. See that? All right. Wherein, let's read this in the NLT. God also bound himself with an oath, so that those who would receive the promise could be perfectly sure that he would never change his mind. See? And we showed you that promise was only to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just because you read the scriptures and you see the word Gentile and heathen and this, yes, we were scattered. And you have to know how to apply those scriptures according to, all right, what's being said at the time. But again, this is only going to be spiritually discerned by the elect. The rest of you are just out there, and the Bible has been given unto you as a stumbling block to trap you up and to drown your ass. The promise to the heirs was immutable. Okay? Immutability. What does immutability mean? Immutability is the state of being unable to change or the quality of not changing. Okay? That by Hebrews 6 and 18, that by two immutable things, which it was impossible for God to lie, we might have a strong consolation to have fled for refuge to lay hold the hope set before us. And this is to the Hebrews. Now, is every nation on the planet Earth a Hebrew? Which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entered into that, all right, within the veil, whither the forerunner is for us entered, even Yahweh Shai made an high priest after the order of Malach Tazadak. And that's the priesthood we're going to enter into, which, he blessed Abram while he was uncircumcised. See, that's how the Gentiles are always tied to Abraham, because it would be their faith and finding favor with the Most High, even, all right, when they were in an unclean state. But they were perfected, all right, through their faith and belief. Okay? So the land, the promised land, all right, you read the promised land. Let's see if that comes up in the scriptures. All right. All right, Exodus 12 and 25, and it shall come to pass when ye be come into the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, All right, that ye shall keep this service. So the receiving of that promise and under that first covenant was, rooted in us keeping that first covenant, which we couldn't do. So the Lord is going to do us a favor and put the laws in us, man. The land which he promised to thy fathers, the promised land. Okay? Nehemiah 9:23, the children also multiplied thou as the stars of heaven, and thou broughtest them into the land concerning which thou hast promised to their fathers, that they should go and possess it. Okay? Let's get Ezekiel, and we'll close it out in a minute. Ezekiel 36:12. Yeah, I will cause men to walk up. Let's see. That's not what I want. I'm Salaki. I'm going here. All right. Ezekiel 36:27. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I gave your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. I will also save you from your uncleanliness. I will call for the corn and increase it, and will lay no famine upon you. Okay? So this is what the Lord is going to do. We're going to dwell in the land as we're taken from among the heathen. We're going to be brought back to the land. Okay? And ye shall dwell in the land that I've given unto your father. This is a promise that is immutable. Okay? Ezekiel 37:25, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. Why aren't you anti-messiahs talking about that? Okay? Ezekiel 39:28, then shall they know that I am Yahweh their God, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them anymore there. So we're going to be gathered to our land. Okay? Point blank period. All right? Judah and Ephraim. Okay? Point blank period. And this is going to fulfill the promise that was made unto Abraham. Okay? Genesis 13:16, and I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, that if a man could number the dust of the earth, then so shall thy seed also be numbered. Okay? Same thing was told to, I believe this is Jacob, Genesis 32:12. And thou sayest, I will surely do thee good, and will make thy seed as the sands of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. Okay? Let's get the book of Revelation 7, and we'll close it out. And that is going to all now be fulfilled as we return to the land through the 144,000. Right? All right. That's the governing body. All right. And then you have the large multitude, which no man could number, just that was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Revelation 7:9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. Because why would the Lord only deliver 144,000 Israelites, but when it comes to the heathen, they get a large number you can't even tell? No, these are Israelites, man. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds. In thy seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be blessed, and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb with white robes and palms in their hands. All right. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God. Who's he the God of? He's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, and this word kindred, again. So this fulfills what was told to Abraham. Phile, in the New Testament, all the persons descending from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch of Jacob. Okay? From all nations. We're going to be gathered out of all nations, kindred, and tongues. So you're going to have Israelites looking like all nations. That's not enough for these people. Okay? We're even fair enough to say, yeah, you're going to have Israelites who look like heathen, who speak different languages. But they don't want that. Again, this fulfills what's written, man. Okay? In Isaiah, the 11th chapter. In the 10th verse, in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, that seed, Yahweh Shai. All right, Jesse is David's father, which shall stand for an ensign to the people, and to it the Gentiles will seek, as we will be scattered, and his rest shall be glorious. So rest comes through Yahweh Shai and believing in the promise. His blood was shed so that the remnant of Israel can receive of that promise and turn to the land in fashion. And it shall come to pass, the restored remnant, that the Lord shall set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, Egypt, Pathros, Cush, Elam, Shinar, Hamath, and the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations to assemble the outcast of Israel, all right, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, meaning they wouldn't be rivals anymore. This fulfills, all right, the reunion of Judah and Ephraim, and this can only happen in Yahweh Shai. This couldn't happen through the law. Okay? Hopefully y'all are edified. On to the next. Shalom.